strong sense that we want to actually do something. We've had a journey of trying to understand how tertiary access works, and in the process we developed a tool, a thinking tool that we call the tertiary access chain that makes visible all the different stages that have to connect up, all the different things that have to happen for kids to eventually end up with tertiary access and success into the workplace. And we did that originally with the idea that we want to map everybody's activity onto that so that we can know who's doing what and that we can look for synergies. But that turned out to be very difficult to find those synergies. The access chain helped a lot to make visible where everybody works. But when we got to the point of saying, what can we actually do as a community? Not just share information or learn from each other, but we wanted to actually get into some doing. We created a number of sub-projects, and one realization was that we all have different areas where we work, so we don't have a budget or anything. So we would all do our individual things in our individual areas where we come from. But as a collective, as a community, what we can do together is to help spread certain messages that we think are important for education. And some of the things that we know are important, like reading to your child, or a whole list of those we've developed. So one subgroup of the group is looking at how we can run a campaign, a national campaign, where we can spread certain messages that can help create the fertile ground for education in Namibia, to try and get the social discourse around education, to talk about the things that we think are important. So that task group has had a few meetings with media experts to try and find out what would it involve, what would be required, how would it work, how much money would we need, and so on. And we're not at the point where we have the final plan yet. This last meeting was a feedback meeting when they gave feedback on what the issues are that they were confronted with, and all the questions the media people asked that they didn't have answers for. So towards the next meeting, we're trying to get some of those answers in place so that we can have a better idea of how we want to define this whole thing and what sort of partnership we must look for to make it happen. So that's the one avenue. The other chain that we're looking at, the other activity is a group that looks at taking that original idea of understanding who's doing what, looking for synergies a bit further into mapping. And we want to create a space where people can go and find information about who's doing what, and all sorts of information that are relevant for working in this space. So in that subgroup, they've been working on designing what such a platform could look like. So in the last meeting, we looked at websites of other organizations that has information on the web and how you would navigate that, what are the sort of designs that you get for web pages. And then we also had an activity where we started listing. But if we ourselves wanted to use that website, so with the tertiary access chain as the organizing principle, but what would you want to see and what would you want to click on, and what would be the trail of breadcrumbs that would take you deeper into the website and get you different other pieces of information. So we started mapping that so that you can design, that we can write up a specification of how that map would be designed. And then the third element is that we, apart from doing the work and the feedback from the subgroups, we also in every meeting try to have some further input. So from the Sasol Inzalo Foundation, we had a presentation about recent research about the bursary program, because they are all working towards tertiary access, and that has to do with getting students into the university, but also about success and throughput. They also want them to be successful once they're there, finish and graduate and go into the workplace. And one of the things that we've become increasingly aware of in the last year or so is when we started with the bursary program, you have this idea that once you get students into university and successful in the first year, they should be fine. And we're discovering more and more that that's not at all the case. And in fact, in certain instances, for certain bursary schemes, the failure rate is biggest in the second year. And we're identifying a big challenge in the third year. And so we're trying to articulate what the different challenges at the different stages are, so that we don't only get them in the first year, but get them out the other side successfully. And there was some input on research that we've done on that recently.
Marietjie, I think that's, thank you very, very much.